Hey Ben, can you hear me? I can't hear you.
That's the one.
Yeah. All right. I can't hear you yet. Nope. Almost.
Hello, testing 1, 2.
Hey, there we go.
Just needed to restart my Chrome.
Chrome acting up as usual. Cool, man. Awesome.
What's this control app? Do I need anything about that? It just
No, you're fine. I think we're good.
Cool.
I don't have light in your room, but it doesn't care. I mean, you're fine. Fine either way. Just it's more for me, just so I can see you better. But that's about it.
I can like sit in like a slightly brighter
corner
environment. Except that I just lost my power cable.
Oh, never mind. It's okay. Just hide in the dark. It's okay.
How's this?
That's much better. That's cool. Nice.
Now I'm looking down.
Okay, you have the power position. It's like, oh no. Cool, man. Well, thanks for taking the time out, being here.
Hey, no, my pleasure.
Cool. Yeah. So, just I guess we start off right away, just asking people how they got involved with the web. I know you were. I know you reading up. You've been part of the web from an early start, really.
How I got involved in the web? Yeah. I got started really early. I mean, I worked. I just thought the web was really fascinating when I found out about it in a after school like tutorial that they actually were throwing for the teachers. But like I was hanging around in the computer lab and I was like, "What's this internet thing you got over there?"
Yeah.
And I remember making my first web page, which was like using like a drop down form elements to like put together like a nasty sentence about my math teacher or something like that, being like, "The internet is great." And that was like in '94 or whatever. So yeah. And then, but the most exciting thing about going to college for me was that I got a static IP address that I could route public DNS to. So I got my friend who ran a DNS server to like pointed.com at my dorm room IP address, and I had a whole Linux network running in my dorm, and mostly to like run a hosting, like web hosting provider for my friends.
Oh wow.
Anyways, whatever. Very nerdy.
Yeah, that's cool. So what type of sites did you run in your college?
I had a zine called FlabJab.
What is FlabJab? What was the
FlabJab?
What was the editorial mission for FlabJab?
I was 18. So we had a section called like birth, what was it, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll or whatever. And somebody would write an essay about sex, about drugs, and about rock and roll. And then like we'd rotate through different people. And I mean, it was actually like a lot of these like web, 1.0 superstars like contributed to FlabJab back in the day. It was, like a webzine out of like 12 that existed on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was crazy. And I had like t-shirts and stickers for my webzine that I ran out of my dorm. And like, it was cool. Went to like Web 99.
Web 99.
Which was like a conference. Yearly,
Web 99, was that San Francisco, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because conferences. Well, now I do conferences, but so the first one I ever went to was Web 2000, I think, or Web 2001, or that. So yeah.
Yeah, and anyways, it was a wacky time, and then I worked at an ISP for a couple of years in the late '90s, and then got into like web application development, and
Well, like how like what technologies did you use? What apps did you build? And
How detailed do you want me to get? Golly,
yeah, I'll get super detailed.
super detailed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I worked at a ISP, right? That we were one of the projects that I worked on was an authentication system for DSL. So, like, DSL's coming to the Washington metro area. They're like literally putting the wires to people's houses, and the ISP like came to us basically, and we're like, we as the systems department of the ISP were told like, hey, this thing is going online in like 3 weeks. Back it. So that was, crazy, like C and like Linux kernel hacking and stuff. When I started my first startup, it was all based in Perl. So we wrote like this huge, structured data information parsing system, web scraper crazy tool in 2000 called Deep Leap. Basically, it was so on the front end, it was a JavaScript application that ran in Netscape Navigator using a signed jar file of JavaScript that somehow we figured out how to embed it into the toolbar of Netscape, and that would allow us to click the link in your browser, and it would pop open a little teeny Deep Leap window that would be able to bypass the cross-browser, cross-scripting rules. So you could see, Deep Leap was able to see what you were doing in your main browser window. So at the time, that was things like Amazon and, ePinions and, like product review site or whatever. So like our little tool would like give you contextual information about like what you were looking at in Amazon by scraping it and like parsing it out and sending it off to other APIs.
All right.
That was super cool. Perl.
Yeah. So like what type of contextual information would you get for like, let's say if I went to Amazon book page?
It could like pull out the ISBN and then fill in the information based on the ISBN number with all of the other publishing information, and then also give you links. So the idea was that it would create like this structured data representation of that book that you could then send off to other things. So like you're on Amazon, but you want to shop at barnesandnoble.com or whatever.
Right.
Or like, here's the review of this book on many other sites based on its ISBN number. The kind of stuff that's easily done these days with APIs or, built into Amazon. But in 2000, it was like, whoa, look at all this stuff all over the internet. It's kind of scattered here and there. Wouldn't it be great if it was like more connected and sort of just automatically connected? Right. So we built this crazy plugin. Yeah. It was awesome.
And then, so what happened to Deep Leap? Was just
it basically imploded at the on the first day of the .com bubble crash. So we had like received like $20,000 of investment from our moms and dads.
Right.
Launched it, had tons of press and like good success and all of this stuff, and I'd say arguably like did like social bookmarking like before anybody else, and a bunch of other things before anybody else, but whatever. And then it was just like, and then we took the servers that it was running on, and our friends, Ev Williams, were in San Francisco, was running this little startup called Blogger, and he needed some extra hardware, so we like sold him the servers for like a couple grand, and went our separate ways.
and then whatever happened to Blogger? I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
The little startup. Yeah. So you did another startup. It was called Consummating later on. Is that right?
Yeah. So basically, this is just like one sad personal story, really.
Okay.
But with like a great ending, which is that I'm awesome.
Okay. But, spoiler.
But so I got into quite a funk about Deep Leap failing, because I thought, and I still think it was like a genius idea and should have been wildly successful, and was just wandering about getting married and divorced and stuff, and just for fun. And me and one of the Deep Leap people, Adam, were like seriously just kind of quite bitter and like dickish people, and in our like early 20s, and like Friendster dating and like stuff like that was like the thing. And like Salon had a dating site that you could like join, and like I was meeting women through that kind of thing, and but it wasn't like really our thing, right? It like didn't fit our personality or like who we wanted to like represent ourselves online as. So we decided to build like a parody of that with questions. Instead of questions like what was the latest book you read, like the question was like, we'll just get, just tell me which parent you have an issue with now.
Okay.
And like, check marks for like, mommy issues, daddy issues or whatever, and like herpes and whatever.
Okay.
We were just like, ha ha ha, that'll be funny.
Right.
And we launched that in like a couple of days, and it like got on Gawker like on the first day, which meant something back then, and we just got like 20,000 user signups, and it was like, oh shit, we have like an actual dating site on our hands.
Right.
So time went by, and things were in terms of technology, things were really, really interesting with like the Web 2.0 stuff, like Ajax and all of this new kind of whizzy bang features that websites were adding, where like all of a sudden the page didn't reload when you hit a form or whatever.
Right.
So one of the things that we were just kind of like figuring out what could be interesting in that space, and we added like tagging. So all of a sudden, you could send tags to people or like tag people's profiles, and then navigate around people who had the similar tags. And all of a sudden it was just this really interesting, like organic, like community, thing that kind of evolved out of that. And turns out also that overlapping tags or overlapping tag sets is a really interesting way to like discover people or make matches. So we had these really, really weird, quirky matches coming out of our system based on like, you like Dungeons and Dragons and I like Dungeons and Dragons, and also we like sushi or whatever. And it's like we're the only two people in Austin who like those two things. Like, boom, match made in heaven.
Right. We should actually.
And also like something to talk about right away.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So cool. So we called it. So we were like, what do we call that? I don't know. So we just like, a friend of ours was like, consummating. It's like consumer mating, whatever. Like, okay, cool,
yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
And we were like, you are what you like. That's kind of the concept. So we did that. And one of the other cool features that Consummating had was that instead of like a static set of profile questions, we changed it every week. Or we added a new one each week. So every week, like, the whole user base would be engaged in like answering the same question, which was, most of the time like silly things like, if you were a hot dog, what would your condiment be or whatever. But week after week after week, 200 of those or whatever, people have built up quite a profile, and then they're liking things, and like we had thumbs up and thumbs down on the profile. So there was this like ranking aspect of things too, and Jesus Christ, it also had a pixel art aspect towards the end.
Right. So it was just a lot of things that you're adding, in this Web 2.0 era, but it's like a nice community. It was not, I hate to say nice. Yeah, I would say sorry about that. I put that out there as soon as I said like, oh, I want to take that word back.
There was a snarky community of mostly buttholes, but they were great.
Well, that's what I meant by nice. But you, I read they got sold to CNET. Is that right?
Yeah. So not really long after we launched, CNET Networks in San Francisco acquired us, and we moved to San Francisco, and it was just me and Adam as sort of volunteers up to that point, and Adam worked at Google, so he wasn't coming along. Right. So I, pre-IPO Google or whatever. So, or I guess like just anyways, whatever details. So, I went to CNET. We hired one other person, and like we set about trying to catch up with MySpace, I guess. Which was, this is again 2005, 2006. So we were like, oh, we're going to try to be like a social network, and you know, I don't know,
Right.
something that CNET had aspirations for.
Well, so my question is like what does it look like when someone says we want to go buy your app or your product or something like that? Was it like, how was that like?
Somebody called me from CNET one day,
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of CNET before?" And I was like, "Yeah, like you do like news and stuff, right?" Yeah, but we do a lot of other stuff too. We noticed this consummating thing you've got going. Like, tell me a little bit about it. You know, blah blah blah. It's this cool thing. Oh, you know, like we're building it to be co-brandable, right? Like, hey guy, like we can license this to you. Like, it'll be great, because that was you know, part of the salon.com thing was like it was co-branded with all these different magazines. We're like, yeah, that'll be. And he's like, that sounds great. I think probably more along the lines of buying it though. You know, we had like some brisk negotiations. I basically like poorly negotiated myself, and like probably like took like a third of the money I could have probably gotten if I had been a little bit savvier and like not 25.
Like how? What do you mean by that? Like what lessons would you learn? Like were these like email conversations, or were they just like phone call conversations that you're having?
I mean, we did a bunch of in-person kind of talks, and also a lot of it over the phone, because I'm, you know, obviously here in Austin. But yeah, I mean, the person who I dealt with at CNET was actually really gracious and helpful, and like basically was like, go hire yourself like a fancy lawyer.
Right.
And so I did, and you know, it's really, really, really expensive, but basically it, you know, that part of it was all very smooth. But yeah, I mean, at some point they're like, name a price, you know. I'm like, oh, okay, it's like
$1 bajillion, like yeah,
$6,000 of total revenue ever on this thing that was like a hobby of mine, and they're like gonna buy it, so $100 million. No, $1 million. Like, you know, it was that kind of thing. They're like, no, not $100 million. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'll take whatever you give me.
Right. That's brisk negotiations. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I was, you know, and also, you know, there's like this aspect of it that I'm like, this was sort of like the anti-commercial, gross, you know, hipster website or whatever that we were trying to be like, you know, counterculture or whatever. So, you know, you know, there was that aspect of things in my whole life, frankly, at that time, and still probably to this day.
Still a thread going on today. Cool. So, consummating, you're in San Francisco. Then what happens next?
So CNET was a great place to work, honestly, and they actually let me just like sit in the basement and like code consummating and do like crazy stuff. And our users did all these cool parties that were called prom-summatings, and like people got crazy at these proms and took pictures, and it was great, and it was fun. But you know, I first of all hated San Francisco and wanted to move back desperately to Austin.
Why do you hate San Francisco?
It's too expensive, cold all the time, and all my friends were like, who got bought by Google? Who got bought by Google? And like, it just, I was like, where does breakfast tacos get served here? And they're like,
it's all about burritos up here, man.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't agree with the burritos. The chips are crispy there, and or they're crunchy there, and I like a crispy chip. Mm-hmm. You know, it's, yeah. And CNET, like at the same time, was like there was not really any place I was going to go there. Like I didn't really realize that like internet product manager was just like a kind of dead end job, where like, yo, hey, have fun, like run that shit for the rest of your life, like at, you know, your current salary,
right?
Unless, you know, somehow you have like this aberrant growth curve, you know, which I didn't know how to make happen, you know, in a basement with one other guy, and then somebody from who I wish I can't really say the details of this part, but one of the people who was one of the consummating members who like got a lot out of it, like felt very like connected to his experience there, and like felt that it was very rewarding or whatever. Was like, hey, I've got a killer job for you. Why don't you come work for me? I'm like an executive at a large company, and so he recruited me away from that very easily with the tantalizing and amazing opportunity to like basically go and like be an R&D person for a couple of years at a secret media, secret giant media company that I can't mention.
Okay.
But it was awesome.
Okay. And
then finally that allowed me to get back to Austin.
Okay. So after 2 years, is that right? Is that what you said? 2 years?
Yeah, it was 2 years.
And then you come back to Austin to do what? Like what was your goal?
Katie, my wife, or fiance at the time, had been working at Mule Design in San Francisco with like Mike Montero and Erica Hall and those guys.
Oh, nice.
I had been like doing this consulting or like R&D work. And we were like, this is stupid. Like we could make a lot more money if we just did this together and like took it up a notch. So I convinced her to quit, and started XOXCO to do consulting in the like product design development space. Initially we were focusing on like community applications. But after 7 years, we sort of broadened out to like building and designing all sorts of digital products. But yeah.
So what type of digital products have you built?
Let's see. Built a whole bunch of sort of social backed applications with like one of them called Neighbor Goods for a lovely client. This one, Mickey Krimmel in LA, but which was like a social like tool sharing application. Super, super cool. I think probably a wee bit before its time in like 2008 when we built it. But you could like find people in your neighborhood who had a ladder instead of going and buying a ladder. Right. So like, super cool concept. We built like a HTML5 app store as a Chrome extension for like a company that never launched. It was going to be like this huge part of this big thing that like all of it just fell apart at the last minute.
Oh,
it was like this crazy, basically like build iTunes App Store, but as an HTML5 app in a Chrome extension that installs other HTML5 apps. It like, okay, cool. Yeah. But it was, super, super cool. And it was like at the very, very dawn of like 8 Chrome extensions. Mm-hmm. So it's cool to be able to do that. We built the Make Pixel Art thing, which is like another Chrome extension that is a canvas-based pixel art editor, but like probably the most feature-rich pixel art editor you've ever seen. And is like the most popular pixel art editor on the internet, as far as I can tell. With like quarter million pieces of pixel art created in our stupid online tool. Yeah, awesome. And it has like a social backend where you can like share and remix pixel art. Right. Why did I build these things? I don't know sometimes. We built Taco Text, which is
what's Taco Text?
It's an iPhone app and an Android app actually that allows you to text pictures of tacos to people.
Why wouldn't you?
Hugely popular. This was, I know that times have changed now with iOS 9.1 or whatever, but it didn't used to be possible to just text a taco to anybody. There needed a secondary app called Taco Text, which we released 3 versions of because, again, I think we had some idea that it was going to make money, but.
So, because I know there was a Taco Finder app for the iPhone, which you just held up and you was like, okay, where's the tacos?
Yeah. That sounds useful, but Taco Text was like passion. Okay. For a while, it was on the cover of Texas Monthly Magazine. Taco Text, right there.
I'm gonna look it up, man. I'm looking that one up. Taco. It's Taco Text on TXT. It's TXT.
Taco Text.
Okay, Taco Text. I'm gonna look that one up, man. Okay.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of wacky stuff out there, but then we also did a lot of really serious work, doing workflow development tools and like web editing tools. We worked with a bunch of cool publishers to do like contextual modifications to their like look and feel of their web page, depending on like what time of day it was, or if you had viewed the page like before that day, to just sort of like experimental like bubbling of content into different locations so that you have a different experience each time. And then recently we've gotten really super into automation and bots, of course.
Right. Well, that leads me to Howdy, right? That's the main thing, that the current focus, not the main thing, but current focus, if you will.
Oh, it's the main thing.
That's the main thing. Okay.
Oh, it's prime time. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. So Howdy is just about bots. Sorry, I don't want to step on you there, but just bots. And so you released it recently, like within 2-3 weeks, I believe.
It's 21 days ago. Yeah.
21 days ago. And so it's integrated into Slack channel, which, everyone has Slack. It's Slack is, I don't think I have to tell you what Slack is, but like Slack just took off and just beat every, I don't know, group messaging, like business messaging system out there. I mean, like I think it ate Basecamp's lunch for a while, if not, I don't know all of it, but I was totally impressed with how people just have loved Slack and just have not given up on Slack. And when every other kind of Basecamp killer came and went, I think it's kind of crazy. But like one of the cool features with Slack is that you can have integrations with software, and I don't know if it's Jiffy or Giphy, whichever one to go with. That's the most popular one that I think people they have to have that in their app. But you can also do all sorts of things instead of just inserting GIFs of random things into your chat stream. But and so Howdy comes along, and what does Howdy solve? Like what's the backstory with Howdy?
So we, use bots for everything these days, and we had built up this big arsenal of bots doing our own stuff and like building stuff for clients and shipping software all the time. So like we were convinced that bots are a deal, right? Like that teams will be benefited by bots, and really we see like a huge opportunity just in the space of like messaging. More broadly than just like teams in Slack, but like families in messaging networks, and friend groups, and like political organizations and whole corporations that are out there in the field or whatever, connected via a Slack or something like that, or just text messaging or whatever. Which I like to say it's built into every single phone, like feature phone or smartphone on the entire planet. Sorry, my dogs just came inside. So, and like right now, there's only a few applications that are built that live inside those kind of environments. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there for growth and for, really interesting things, to happen. So anyways, Howdy in Slack does a bunch of different things. But one of the cool things that I think it does is that it can talk to all of your teammates at the same time, and like collect information from them, and then create documents of that and share it back with you. So like if you're having a stand-up meeting, instead of everybody having to say all of their stuff in sequence, you can talk to the bot, and it will collect everything from everybody and then deliver the thing to people so that they can talk about the actual content instead of spending the time exchanging the content. And we just think that you get a little bit more time to make decisions and like take action if you don't have to spend the time like actually just blurbing out your answers and like what your blockers are or whatever. And it's a nice bonus to also have the bot like take pristine and automatic notes and like share it with you on a wiki page, which is something that we're like in the process of launching right now. So that like you can look back at your meeting notes from today or yesterday or 2 weeks ago and see like how things have progressed. So that's just like the beginning of what Howdy's going to do. The broader concept is to, allow teams to take advantage of these automation tools in a like really easy way and just build conversational interfaces to the sort of processes and tools they use every day. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too, because like we're a small shop, and but so we have vendors and contractors, and so just to be able to run Howdy and just say like, what's everyone doing? Just because we're kind of loose, we don't have like a lot of structure in our organization, but every once in a while, it's like, hey, what is everyone working on? Just want to make sure, like, what problems are they having? And so it was really great because, like, because we run Howdy a few times, it's just like, just be able to say, like, just go out there and say, like, 3 times a week is probably all we need, really, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. And personally for me, it's like I'm really interested in making sure, as anyone who would do a stand-up meeting, just making sure there's no bottleneck somewhere that I'm causing, which is like the worst thing ever, but also making sure there's bottlenecks that I need to focus my attention on.
Yeah.
And help other people. So
Exactly.
But to get that information from everyone, just the way our company works, it's kind of annoying just to do that and just do a stand up. So it's always nice just to be able to, like, just do it through a nice friendly bot named Howdy.
Yep.
Whereas it's a lot better than me coming up there. It's like, hey, how's it going? Do you need caffeine?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we definitely don't want to, like, replace human interaction or anything like that. We want to, like, give you the time to do the things that, like, people need to do instead of the things that robots can do.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's cool. I mean, our use of it has expanded to do things like, where we want to go to lunch, and we just, like, run that, and bing, everybody kind of, like, results in. Now we can go. All sorts of stuff like that. Sorry, my dog's, like, choking to death.
Well, I hope he's not choking. But, I hope he's okay. So I mean, like, lunch, tacos, definitely, like, in there for, like, what future do you see also for other apps? And, like, is it just, like, I guess for mostly in the project management space, but also just,
I mean, I think
other spaces.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different opportunities. I mean, there's the traditional use of bots, in the, like, the DevOps world of doing deployments and continuous integration kind of stuff. I think will be able to be integrated into Howdy, so people can worry about the details of their specific process and not the like, construction of and maintenance of, like, this bot technology that etc. I think there's, like, we get a lot of interest from people who want to reach out to their employees with, like, message, some kind of message or update, but also some questions for, from the field or whatever. So, like, hey, this week the goal of the company is to, like, sell more widgets. Our new strategy is going to be, like, door-to-door widget sales. So anyways, on to the weekly questionnaire, blah, blah, blah. But get them in a place where they're already,
oh wow! A weekly company newsletter that engages.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gonna be awesome. Feature looks great.
Yeah, hey, I think so.
Yeah. So, but yes, but I could. I can see, like, anything else. Sorry, I just want.
I mean, and I think that we see things like, GitHub getting OctoCAD or whatever arriving on your team one day, and from then on, like, most of the time you're just, like, playing with OctoCAD instead of going to the GitHub website.
Yeah.
If you're, like, a Slack dedicated team or whatever, and then I think just more and more stuff like that will arrive in Slack, or again in, like, text messaging, or both, where you're just chatting away with the thing, and they're not AIs, they're not, like, going to take over or whatever, but they're able to understand when you're like, launch it or whatever that you meant, deploy the code.
Right. Yeah. So I can definitely see, like, we're just automating a whole bunch of tasks that you just don't want to do, or just set them up and or just retrieve information. Like, I think one of the bots with the Austin built team has is it, like, full yet? That we just keep on.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Like we're building this website, just like this one thing website, and it's like, is it, like, full yet? And then this bot comes up and says, hey, look, guys, look right. And I'm like, so we just ping the bot in the conversation to see if the local Lake Travis is full or not, which is really awesome.
Well, and it's what I think people are, well, at least what I'm starting to realize about this is that that captures the, like, context of the information in a way that, like, things that if you had just checked the website IRL, it wouldn't have, right? It injected, like, a bookmark of reality into that conversation that, later could be, like, brought back out into some sort of structured information or like, meaning later, right?
Right.
I think Slack's kind of bigger picture vision is that they're almost like the cryogenics company that like one day science will figure out how to bring the people back to life. Slack's like, we have your message archives. Like one day, like some sort of like machine learning will like extract perfect knowledge base of your company. But, for now it's just like chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see like where like I like the idea of like bringing the information and like that's almost like was it though like gratuitous information at the time, but
yeah,
like when it came time, like, oh wait, what was that information was?
Yeah, and I mean, one of the upcoming features that we're doing, right, is like capturing when somebody goes on like a useful rant. So a lot of the times it's like, well, why did this, like here's an example from our day today, like, well, why the hell did this code not get deployed right or whatever? Let me just explain to you all how the fucking code deploy works again. Start rant. 1, do this, 2, and like boom, and then at the end, boop, there's a wiki page.
Right.
Like
oh, that's pretty awesome. Like so all my rants can have their own wiki. Is that right?
Exactly.
And then like, but in the business sense, like that'd be awesome because then if you hire someone new, they're able to like just like, hey, where can I find a place where I can learn a lot about my company without pissing off my colleagues? The rant wiki page.
Rant wiki pages.
So yeah. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because like if you, especially with new hires, I think in the tech world is like you move from one company to another, you have to learn the processes. So something like that would be pretty easy.
Exactly, and I mean, I think that everybody loves to communicate in Slack, and that is the place where questions can get answered, and the communication stream can like ebb and flow. But it also has to like be extracted out into like a meaningful, repository at some level to to allow your organization to grow and benefit from that, thing that you've created.
Yeah, and then it's also great, like if you probably build bots and say like, I've created this resource through my series of rants that my company has made over the year. Yeah. And then I can actually like leverage that with another bot or another feature bot and say, oh, like blah, 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 like I just talk to the bot, say like, how do I deploy this?
Yeah.
It's like, well, the bot's not gonna tell you, but like, hey, I got this, we got a rant about deploying. You want to check it out? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, hopefully the bot, the process is basically like, it has been replaced by a bot. Just tell the bot to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, it's like if you can write it down, great. Now code it into a bot and forget how you ever did it. And let the bot take over.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah, so any other future bot ideas you guys are working on or any examples?
I mean, we're going to make the lunch bot feature for everybody. Nice. That's going to be a huge feature. I think that's going to go over huge.
You're going to solve so many problems and save so much time. I can't wait for it.
Yeah. No, we have scheduling and a bunch of really cool features for Howdy on the deck, and then some really exciting stuff going to happen in December that I can't talk about right now.
Oh, nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, cool stuff on the horizon.
Well, I do want to talk to you in December then. Circle back with you.
Sounds good. So, yes.
Well, yeah, but I am serious about the lunch thing. That's going to save so much time. I'm like,
it's one of these like we built a lunch. One of the original bots we even built was this lunch bot that like, hey, I want to go to lunch. Just like tell me where to go to lunch instead of like having to think about it anymore or talk about it. And I like wrote an essay about it, and people like really responded to it and thought it was funny or whatever. But what I've come to like realize, and we've seen this in the use of Howdy already, is that like people really actually would use this all the time. Like, just tell me where to fucking eat a hamburger. Like, is just a super useful thing, and like it is also kind of magical because like every once in a while it gets it just like perfectly right.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So does it like tie into like Yelp or something like that, or is it just no knowledge?
No knowledge necessary.
Okay.
We're gonna make it customizable, but
okay, cool, awesome. So and this is you get around the funding for Howdy, I read, and so that's just all systems locked in for bots.
That's it. So we Katie and I decided to shut the consultancy down and pivot or whatever into full on startup. So we are Howdy now, and full speed ahead. Yeah, really exciting.
Okay, cool. So usually I ask people what they're at the end, like what they're passionate about, but it sounds like it's bots and that's it.
And Legos. I mean, I love Legos.
Okay, what's about Lego that you're excited about?
This one was really cool. Hold on.
Okay. So you're holding up the Star Wars 7.
Yeah, like Star Wars speeder bike with Ray on it. Super cool.
Nice.
Super
That's pretty
cool. Yeah. I don't need to take up any more of your time now.
Hey, let's talk some Legos and Star Wars all night, man. Yeah,
Have you seen those Sphero BB-8? You have a Sphero BB-8 or like 5 of them?
I have one. It's still in the box because I have to promise myself that I won't open it until till my Christmas break happens. And so
you're missing out on all the drip campaign augmented reality videos they're sending out.
Oh, what was this? Tell me more about this. What is this?
So like you'll get a push notification for the BB-8 app, and it's like, hey, there's a message intercepted from the new order or whatever.
Yeah.
The first order. And then you have to look at the BB-8 toy through the camera, and it'll like R2D2 like hologram style the thing like in an augmented reality like experience through the phone. Super cool.
So what type of messages are they? They're just like
nothing.
Kill Jedi.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, we're still evil and kill Jedi.
Yeah. Just somebody in a mask. Like it looks cool though.
But that's pretty smart thing to do for marketing. So
cool. It's a great toy. It's a great toy.
Okay. Maybe I'll break it out sooner than later.
You should be missing out.
Okay. Cool, man. Awesome. And then how can people find out about Howdy, learn about Howdy, get Howdy installed?
Yeah, Howdy. It's howdy.ai. This is I'm gonna just pause here real quick and spell it out because people have surprisingly asked me this a lot. HOWDY. Howdy.ai.
Okay. A lot of people who are from Texas, I believe.
I guess. I mean, it's crazy. Like people on the phone not understanding what I'm saying when I say howdy. Yeah. And I'm Ben Brown, at Ben Brown.
Okay. And at howdy.ai, they can just go to install the bot and everything like that and find out more about it.
Yep. There's all sorts of materials and me appearing on other podcasts and things like that. Which if you and if you'd like to learn about like bots and things like that, my Medium profile is filled with that kind of stuff as well, from like developer tips, to sort of like my theoretical ideas about bots in the future.
Oh, nice, cool. And that's at was it medium.com/
at Ben Brown.
Whatever. Okay, cool, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you.
And let's talk in December, see what new stuff you come up with.
Sounds good.
All right, talk to you later.
Yep. Bye-bye.